It is important to focus on yourself, right? It's important to focus on your goals and things like that. But what's most important is getting closer to God. What's most important is getting closer to Jesus Christ, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all flesh. And we struggle with sin, obviously, each and every day. We have our own individual sins that we struggle with, right? Whether it may be lust or envy or pride or greed or gluttony or wrath. Whatever the case may be, we all have some specific sin that we tend to struggle with the most, right? And the only way that we can just try our very best to detour away from that is literally by getting closer to Jesus Christ, right? That is the only way. We can't do it on our own. We can't, right? It's literally impossible, right? You have to learn how to get closer to Jesus Christ and learn how to become more obedient and more humble within yourself and less egotistical and less prideful and less angry all the time, right? And I know it's easier said than done, right? Because we all have our own problems that we deal with on a daily basis, but we have to try our very best to get closer to God. Why? Because there is life after this, right? Understand that the actions that you take right now determine where you're going when you die, right? Are you trying your very best to be a good human being and helping other people and trying to succeed within yourself, trying to humble yourself, trying to forgive others? Or are you just steady procrastinating and overthinking about everything and just being lustful, disrespecting people, right? Whether it's in a serious manner or a jokingly manner, those things matter, right? Even in little jokes, right? Like disrespectful jokes, those things matter. It might not matter to you, right? But it matters to the other person. So take note of that, right? Understand that when you're making fun of somebody, when you're belittling somebody, you're belittling one of God's temple, right? Because our bodies are temples of God, right? So when you're belittling somebody, when you're disrespecting somebody, understand that you are disrespecting another soul. You're belittling another soul, right? And that's what God is trying to teach each and every one of us, that we are created in His image, right? We are His children, right? And Christ is literally but Christ literally tells us that the kingdom of heaven is within each and every one of us. We have the ability to enlighten ourselves through Him, right? Because He was enlightened. He was, not only the Son of God, but God in flesh, right? He was one with God, right? And He picked up that cross, and the one thing that stood out to me was the fact that He didn't complain, right? Even with all the blood and scars on His body to the point where He didn't look like a human, He didn't complain. He carried out His duty, right? He did what had to be done, right? And as a man, you have to understand you have no choice but to work. You have no choice but to do your job. You have no choice but to do your duty, right? That is something that you have to embrace. That is something that you have to realize. You have to realize that you have to do your duty every single day. And your duty has to involve getting closer to God and not just working for money, not just working on your physique, right? Not just working to look good or be a better person. Working to get closer to God. That is the most important thing. That is the best thing that you can do as a man, right? What matters is what's in here. What matters is your soul, right? Not just your body, right? What matters is the energy that people see that's coming out of you, right? When dogs or when animals are trying to get closer to you or trying to, play with you, understand that that means that your frequency is high. That means that your energy is high, right? So if you notice that, that's a good thing, bro. Try your very best to keep your frequency high, right? When you're steady being depressed and overthinking, your frequency is so low to the point that you start to repel other people. You start to, how can I put this? Other people don't really want to be around you because you're soaking in your own depression. You're soaking in your own negative emotions to the point where your energy is just black, right? It's dark. You have to get closer to God to the point where people want to speak to you. People want to be around you, right? People want to get to know you, right? People love being around you, right? Be that person who has that light shining from within them because of Jesus Christ, because of God. That's what being a man of God is about, right? Having that energy, having that light source that other people see, right? To the point where they get curious and they want to get closer to God as well, right? Being a man of God is about being a leader, right? It's not only leading yourself towards Him, but leading other people towards Him as well, right? Especially if you're in a relationship, right? Understand this: if you're with a girlfriend or you got a wife or whatever the case may be, right? She will mirror your actions, right? If you're constantly disrespecting her, if you're constantly insulting her, if you're constantly being angry and frustrated and complaining all the time, right? Not going to the gym, not taking care of yourself, she will mirror that. Either she will mirror that or she will start to disrespect you, or she will just straight up just leave you, right? The only way that you can have a woman respect you is leading yourself, not leading yourself, but allowing yourself be led by God, right? And when you allow yourself being led by God, you will lead that woman as well, right? You will lead her towards God because you're leading her, right? A woman will start to follow you if you are being led by God, right? She will start to follow your movements, right? She will start to mirror you, right? Because us men, we're naturally leaders, right? We are naturally born to be led, right? That is something that's just within us because of our masculinity, right? We are born to lead people. So understand that if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur or you're thinking about being a businessman, that's good, right? That's good because you are trying to work under God. And what I mean by work under God is you're trying to fulfill your purpose, and your purpose is to lead, right? Try your very best to lead in whatever aspect it is in life, whether it's being a leader in a workhouse, right? Being a leader in a school, right? Being a leader on YouTube, being a leader in your family, whatever the case may be. Try your very best to be a leader, right? And when you are a leader, try your very best to lead other people from damnation, right? Lead them away from the devil. Lead them away from any negative energy, right? Lead them away from anything that's willing to bring them harm, right? That is your duty as a man, not just for your family, right? Not just for your coworkers. That's just something that you have to do as a man. You have to be a leader, right? And the number one step that you must take before realizing that you're a leader is realizing that you have to be led by God. You have to let Jesus Christ lead you, right? And you have to humble yourself. Because when you start to do those things, when you start to humble yourself, when you start to let yourself be led by God, right, other people will start to follow you, and other people will start to get closer to God as well. With that being said, I'm going. Peace.